and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Nittany Manson here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
If you don't have to genuinely fly, don't do so. That's the message from the Israeli government, making Israel the first country to urge its citizens to refrain from international travel altogether following the outbreak of the coronavirus. This comes after several other countries have announced that they've identified cases of the virus on their soil over the past 2 days, including the United States and Latin America. Tuesday marked the first day since the beginning of the epidemic that more new cases were recorded abroad than in China, where the disease began. The coronavirus outbreak began back in December of 2019 in Wuhan, China, and has since infected over 80,000 people worldwide and killing more than 2,000 people. Israel has already banned the entry of any foreigners who have been to China, Hong Kong, Macau, Thailand, Singapore, South Korea, and Japan in the 14 days prior. All Israelis returning home from Italy must enter a 14-day home quarantine immediately, and the Israeli government is advising the cancellation of all international conferences or gatherings in Israel in the coming months. The Israeli Health Ministry has come under fire for panicking people and causing economic and diplomatic damage to the country in the process, but claim they'd prefer to make harsher measures now than be sorry later. El Al, Israel's premier airline, is warning that it and other Israeli carriers could collapse financially in a matter of just weeks if the health ministry continues to be so stringent with travel restrictions. El Al claims it's already sustained $50 million in damages due to the coronavirus. This comes as 3 more Israelis who were diagnosed from the coronavirus have recovered, with 1 patient slated to be discharged from an Israeli hospital and 2 more headed home from Japan. In just 4 days, Israelis head to the polls to vote in a 3rd consecutive election in less than a year. The latest surveys are now predicting that Prime Minister Netanyahu's Likud party has an edge against his main rival Benny Gantz's Blue and White alliance. 2 major polls by Israelis Channel 12 and Kan News predict Likud winning 34 of the Knesset's 120 seats, with Blue and White getting just 33. The last few days have seen campaigns becoming more and more personal, with Likud seeking to portray Gantz as mentally incapable of running the country, and Gantz accusing Netanyahu of being a criminal who is engineering legislation to curtain a criminal case against him. Israel Beitenu Likuder Avigdor Lieberman says he's now dropping his demands for a unity government and no longer wants to form a coalition with Netanyahu. In the meantime, Blue and White is stepping up attacks within its own camp. It's likely because Gantz claims that Lieberman will only sit in a government with the Blue and White party if it wins the most seats in the election. Blue and White also says they will not include the Joint Arab List in a future government. Following yet another round of violence with Gaza and with just days left before elections, security is on the lips of every Israeli politician. Of course, the left and right are painting very different pictures for Israeli voters. While members in the current coalition threaten harsh response for violent escalation, opposition leaders like Blue and White's Benny Gantz accuse Prime Minister Netanyahu of being an agent for the status quo at best. So who's right? Well, as you might expect, the answer is pretty gray. It's true that in just the past 2 years, there have been at least 10 sustained escalations with Palestinian terrorists in the Strip, and that's not including the 20 months of weekly riots along the border. It's also true that there's no feeling that another round of clashes won't occur. With every rocket barrage, terror groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad become more and more deadly. In the latest 48-hour conflict this week, Islamic Jihad fired nearly 100 rockets at southern Israel. Nearly 85% were directed at populated areas, requiring interception by the Iron Dome. Yet with every escalation, the IDF's goal does seem to be to not rock the boat too much. The cost of full-out war is high in many respects, but on the other hand, it's true that Israel has been responding quite harshly against terror-run installations and occasionally against enemy combatants. Under the interim defense ministry of Naftali Bennett, Israel is also launching attacks into Syria, hitting the Iranian backers behind Islamic Jihad in retaliation, as well as putting emphasis on capturing terrorists' bodies as bargaining chips in negotiations.
And that's all for now. Follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Nittany Manson, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel.